I'm here with the Association of African Universities Television, AUTV. I just want to say that without the media, you won't know what's going on in the world. Even with the media, you sometimes don't know what's going on in the world. So you need to tune in to the reliable sources who are really on the front lines, who can give you the information you need and give you facts, not conjecture, give you real news, not fake news. And this is the place to find it, AUTV.
The voice of higher education in Africa.
Welcome to the Hello Africa Morning Show and to our top African stories. President John Dramani Mahama has launched a nationwide initiative to provide free sanitary pads to girls in junior and senior high schools. The program aims to end absenteeism and dropouts caused by menstrual challenges, described by President as a lasting policy, not a one-time act. This move is part of his 120-day social contract that aligns with Ghana's commitment to gender equality and quality education.
Speaking at the launch, the president described the initiative as more than a gesture, but a sustained policy aimed at ensuring that menstruation never becomes a reason for girls to drop out of school. With just 13 days left in his 120-day social contract, this marks a major milestone in his promise to improve access to education. President Mahama assured girls across the country that his government sees them, believes in their potential, and will support them every month, every term and every year. He also called on local manufacturers to step up production of sanitary pads, highlighting the economic benefits alongside the social impact. The Education Minister Haruna Iddrisu commended the move, saying it will improve attendance and retention while reinforcing the government's push for STEM education in schools. Traditional leaders, including Key Takiteku True II, also threw their support behind the initiative, calling for cultural shifts that protect and uplift the girl child. From today, President Mahama says no girl in Ghana should be left behind because of menstruation, a promise fulfilled and a movement to protect the future of every girl in Ghana.
Moving on, the Guidance and Counseling Association of Ghana has congratulated Professor Ernest Kofi Davis on his appointment as Director General of the Ghana Education Service. The association is optimistic he will prioritize student support services, drawing from his strong academic background and leadership at the University of Cape Coast.
The Guidance and Counseling Association of Ghana is backing Professor Ernest Kofi Davis as the new Director General of the Ghana Education Service. In a statement, the association said it is ready to collaborate with Professor Davis to strengthen student counseling services across schools. They praised his academic journey from Cape Coast to Japan and Australia, earning international recognition and rising to Professor of Mathematics Education. As Provost at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Davis promoted counseling as both an academic discipline and a student support service. The association says it is confident he will bring the same vision to GES, ensuring students get the guidance they need to succeed. Professor Davis is also credited with helping shape Ghana's Bachelor of Education curriculum and brings over 50 peer-reviewed publications to his name. They described his appointment as a step forward for holistic student development in Ghana.
Kenya and China has pledged to strengthen their relationship, signing 20 new cooperation deals during President William Ruto's visit to Benji. The visit marks a strategic shift for Kenya as it looks east following recent U.S. trade tensions.
China and Kenya have taken their long-standing relationship to a new level. During President William Ruto's state visit to Beijing, his first since taking office, both countries signed 20 cooperation agreements spanning security, technology, and the economy. The visit comes as Kenya faces new trade barriers with the United States, including 10% tariffs imposed last month on Kenyan exports. With its eyes on growth, Kenya is now looking east, counting on Chinese investment to expand its infrastructure, including ongoing negotiations for a new railway and a major motorway project. For China, a deeper relationship with Kenya offers a key gateway into East Africa and the broader continent as it faces the hardest hit tariffs by the US. President Ruto also expressed interest in joining BRICS, the global bloc that includes China, Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa, signaling Kenya's broader international ambitions. The two leaders pledged to build what they call an all-weather China-Africa community, aimed at boosting stability and defending the shared interests of developing nations.
Kenya is projected to become East Africa's largest economy by 2025, overtaking Ethiopia according to a new data from the International Monetary Fund. The shift comes as Kenya's economic resilience contrasts with Ethiopia's recent currency devaluation and rising inflation.
Kenya is on track to become East Africa's economic powerhouse by 2025, overtaking long-time regional rival Ethiopia, according to the International Monetary Fund. The IMF projects Kenya's gross domestic product to hit $132 billion, outpacing Ethiopia's forecast of $117 billion. It's a significant milestone, driven by divergent economic strategies. Ethiopia's sharp devaluation of the birr by more than 55% this year unlocked billions in international support, but came at a high cost. Inflation surged and imports became more expensive, deepening economic woes worsened by conflicts and climate shocks. Meanwhile, Kenya's currency surged 21% in 2024, becoming the world's best performing currency, thanks to a strong Eurobond issuance, nearly $5 billion in diaspora remittances, and solid export performance in agriculture and manufacturing. Still, it hasn't all been smooth. Widespread protests against Kenya's 2024 finance bill forced the government to walk away from a $3.6 billion IMF deal, raising concerns about fiscal stability. But Kenya's diversified economy and investor confidence have kept growth on track. While Ethiopia once led the region through massive infrastructure growth, the current economic climate has exposed vulnerabilities in its model. With global growth slowing, both nations face challenges, but if current trends continue, Kenya will officially become East Africa's largest economy next year, shifting the regional balance of economic power.
A Rwandan man living in the United States has been arrested for allegedly taking part in the 1994 genocide in Rwanda. Faustina Nsambugunzi, now a beekeeper in New York, is accused of overseeing the killings of Tutsis during the genocide and lying about his past to obtain U.S. citizenship. He faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted.
A man who built a quiet life as a gardener and beekeeper in the U.S. is now at the center of serious genocide allegations. 65-year-old Faustin Nsambugunzi has been arrested in Bridgehampton, New York, for allegedly playing a leading role in the 1994 Rwandan genocide. U.S. prosecutors say Nsabu Mukunzi, a former local leader in Rwanda, helped set up roadblocks and directed armed groups to kill Tutsis during the 100 days of violence that claimed around 800,000 lives. He is also accused of lying on his U.S. immigration forms when he applied for refugee status and later for citizenship, failing to disclose his involvement in the genocide. Although convicted in absentia in Rwanda and sentenced to life in prison, Nsabu Mukunzi has lived in the U.S. since 2003, working as a gardener and tending to beehives in an upscale New York community. He pleaded not guilty to the charges and has been released on a $250,000 bond under home detention with GPS monitoring. His lawyer claims he is innocent, calling him a law-abiding beekeeper who also lost family during the genocide. If convicted, he could face up to 30 years in prison. Rwanda continues to seek justice beyond its borders, tracking suspects who fled the country decades ago.
That is all for the top African stories. My name is Jemima Daladem Doche. Up next is News Review. Stay tuned.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
You're watching Hello Africa, Africa's empowerment voice, and this is on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Ajiban Ochodako, and I'm here with your trusted partner,
Philemon Edwards.
Splendid. And today has a mixed bag of interesting stories. Kudos to you, Jemima, for the earlier news you shared. And today we have lots of special guests on the show to help us, straighten out matters very well, issues of HR, politics, and a whole lot more. Phil, tell us some other matters that will be coming up today on the show.
Just to touch on the HR politics issue, I'm excited that Dr. Laurentia is here.
Oh.
She was my head of department when I was doing my master's.
Splendid.
Yeah, so it's good to have her back in this place. And I'm excited that in the sports segment as well, we'll have the legendary Rahim Ayew, one of Ghana's finest, the son of Abedi Pele, to be on the show with us. He'll be joining us online. We'll be discussing a few things about sports this morning. And there's a few other stories also coming up. It's going to be an exciting show, so just stay tuned.
Splendid. So you don't have to go anywhere. Just grab your cup of coffee or tea and then keep your dial on AAU TV. Keep watching us. Send your comments via social media, and we'll bring you the very best of stories today. Stay with us.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa LMS.
Hey, so this is Dishant from Unica University Common Application. I recommend you to watch AAU television.
AAU TV is the place to be for every person in higher education in Africa. Better be there or be nowhere.
Continuez de regarder la télé et surtout sur le AAU.
Keep watching it, and it will change the way you interact with higher education on the continent. AAU, great job.
I want to tell you that AAU television is fantastic, it's educative, it's informative, and it is a must for anybody who is interested in higher education in Africa.
When I was in Accra last year, I did an interview on this TV. It's a very important mouthpiece.
It's a data, it's a bank of all we need for the development of higher education in Africa.
People should make an effort to view it because it discusses very current issues of development across the continent.
I believe that the station will continue to promote the overall development of Africa, particularly in the tertiary education sector.
AAU TV provides a platform and shares a lot of information to a broader audience. So we wish you all the best and please continue serving AAU TV,
the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello Africa, keep watching AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello Africa, keep watching AAU TV.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks. This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
You're welcome on the Hello Africa Morning Show, and we have in the house a very astute figure within the area of human resource management, international relations, and HR. You know, she is looking at HR in politics, inspiring a new generation of very determined politicians who are very keen on choosing the right kind of human resources to champion political agendas. And that is the point what we're trying to do over here. And she is the head of the Center for International Relations at the UNIMAG GIJ, the person of Dr. Laurentia Agyapong. Doc, you're welcome to Hello Africa.
Thank you very much.
Splendid.
And a slight correction, I'm not an HR expert.
Okay.
I'm more into political communication. And as part of political communication, we look at human resource within politics. So that is the angle that I look at it from. Core HR people have a different perspective that they view things, but we feel that understanding human resource requirements within the political framework is also important.
Amazing. You know, that's the same vein we're trying to pick it from. It's quite a phenomenal concept on trying to integrate HR into politics. You know, we know of the old saying or the old paradigm that it is just choosing your loyals to be in your key areas when it comes to political journeys. So when you say there should be a keen spectacle for human resource in politics, what is the understanding to this?
Okay, so very interesting question you're asking, because just last week my PhD students were asking me the same thing. And the discussion was that, isn't it interesting that every job that you go to, there are specific rules and requirements and orientation that you are supposed to have. But when it comes to the field of politics, people that we have tasked to manage the resources of the entire country, the office of the president, one of the most important key things is about age and of sound mind. Who determines who has a sound mind? And we have people that become members of parliament, become MPs, become CEOs, who basically are put there because of their loyalty to the party. But these people are in charge of managing the resources, including the human capital of the country. Shouldn't we be training those people or arming them with the tools for them to be able to do the job properly for us, so that we will have less complaints as a country? So that is what we come at with the political HR. That yes, party loyalty is important. And yes, we do understand that any political party that comes into power wants to ensure that the people that were loyal to it are the ones that are put in charge so that they can push the party agenda. But your party agenda must also become the country's agenda. And those people must necessarily manage resources, must necessarily manage people. And so they need to have the arms and the tools and orientation in order to be able to be effective in their work.
This sounds pretty interesting, but it has a chaotic embryo to it. You know, recently we had people picketing in party offices that they've been appointments, people who are not part of the struggle and did not toil, and now have been appointed based on, in quotes, competence, whilst those who toiled and did all the dirty work were the ones who were neglected, and they were just destroying properties. Do you think, or don't you think, that if we try to streamline and officiate things like these in terms of trying to identify competent people who are trained with the right qualifications, it betrays the whole foot soldiers mindset? Are we not really trying to turn this around into a more of a turmoil in this case?
Okay. Very interesting. There's this term that keeps coming up about foot soldiers. Foot soldiers. Who are foot soldiers? Foot soldiers are the base of the party, the people that do the canvassing, the campaigning, the door-to-door. But are we trying to say that all the foot soldiers can govern? When a government comes into power, that government is for the entirety of the people. It is not for one particular party. So there is a difference. And I think very often that is where we do not draw the line. There's a difference between party and government. Because if you're a political party and you're voted into government, then you become a government. The political party is still there, they run. And in fact, when we talk about political HR, as we teach it at UNIMAC, we start from the party level. So if the people that are working in the party knows the orientation of the job that is entailed in what they are doing. So, for example, the party chairman understands what work they are supposed to do and how to work with their people, all the way to the foot soldier, then we wouldn't be having these kind of acrimonious relationship happening. Because if a party foot soldier understands that when you become a government, if you want to stay in government, you need to deliver to all the people, not the party. We should all understand that with the research that we have done with the political parties, there is no one political party that can cross the 50% plus one. If you do not get other people voting for you based on what you say you are going to achieve. So if you are a political party that wants to remain in government, then it is important that you put competent people Now, let's come back to this term that we've mentioned, competent people. Yes. Who do we classify as competent? There are people who already comes to the job with the knowledge, and there are people who comes to the job without the knowledge, but you can teach them to acquire the knowledge. It's about ensuring that if you have a round peg, you put round, if you have a round hole, you put round pegs in there. If you have a square hole, you put the square holes in there. But you can conform people and train people for them to fit into the right hole for you. So for example, if somebody is appointed a minister for communication, the person doesn't necessarily have to be an IT specialist or have knowledge. Understand that your role as a minister is not about doing the everyday job of running the IT system or the communication system of the country, but managing people and ensuring that they achieve so that your ministry will be able to work and people will appreciate what the government is trying to do. So you need to arrange them, arm them with the tools, and explain their work to them. Very often, the reason why some ministers fail or some CEOs fail is not because they don't have core competencies, but they do not understand where they fit within the organization. And that is what we try to teach them. Yes, you are a political figure. Yes, you were appointed because of your political loyalty, but it is important that we reorient you and let you understand the skill sets that you need. If you don't have it, then you can be trained to get it so that you can achieve on your work.
No, it's interesting when you said it's very, very, I would say passionately, driving it down to those who need it. But the question is, do you think that our terrain of politics is ready for intensive political HR?
We are ready. I think that with our experimentation in our Fourth Republic, up to now, it clearly shows that we can't keep going in this direction, right? And that is why institutions like University of Media Arts and Communication, we have this specialized program. So as part of what we want to do to make sure that the world of politics in Ghana really evolves and go in the proper direction. That's why we started this program in political communication management. And as part of it, we train people on political human resource for them to understand why. So if we're able to train more and more people, then we can come up with a coalition of people who understand the direction that we need to go with our politics. So if you have a coalition of people that understand the direction, the importance of political HR, those people working in parliament, those people working with political parties, working in political organizations, office of the president and all of that, then you would realize that we are gradually changing the mindset of people towards understanding what political human resource is all about and making sure we arm people with the skills. So we are very passionate about the work that we are doing. We only started last year. We are doing our second batch. And we are getting people from all over the place, those that are interested in politics. I know recently we approached the Parliament of Ghana to see if we can do some training for them on that area, even how to select your advisors or the people, the staffers in your office as an MP. You might not have the skills, but if you have people working in your office with the relevant skills, then you'll be able to deliver. So that's where we are going.
You know, one thing about your role and your institution, the teaching and learning, the other thing I would say is community engagement.
Yes.
Some communities or some members of parliament have been appointed based on how popular they were and how well known they were. Not because perhaps they were competent. Some of them are in parliament, and you could actually see that these people do not belong here, not because of not beyond their humanity, but because of how they got the power, or not because they were competent on paper, but by their CV and experience. It's because they had the masses appealing towards them. Is there any strategy or scheme to engage the public to now be more conscious on who to vote for, what to look at, just to support the whole idea of political HR?
Okay, so now you're bringing a very interesting dimension into the whole discussion. So when it comes to voting, And because I'm in politics, the dynamics of how people decide on who to vote for is very, very complex.
Yeah.
So it is not simple. You are not simply going to tell people that when you are voting for somebody, it's not based on popularity, or it shouldn't be based on whether you like the person. Really, people tend to think that we are all rational human beings and we carry the same rationality into voting. Unfortunately, I would have to disabuse your mind of that as somebody that has been in politics for a long time. People don't necessarily vote for people based on competence. And I think that is the reason why in our constitution, there is no clear criteria for who should become the president of the republic. The criteria says that a certain age, you should be a certain age and be of sound mind. So it means that when it comes to voting, it is very few people. In fact, we have done so many research in that area. Very few people rationally decide that I'm voting for this person because I think they are competent, or I'm voting for the person because I think they can do the job. Very often, when we speak to people, the reasons behind their voting patterns are very interesting. Sometimes because the person is very handsome, or they appeal to the person, or the person looks like somebody they can sit and have a beer with, or the person is God-fearing. I don't know how you can judge from someone's face whether they are God-fearing or not, but those are some of the reasons why people vote. So yes, you can educate people on who they should vote for and why they should vote for that person. But it doesn't mean that you will make any headway trying to say that vote for people based on competence. If we are going to do that, then our whole constitution has to change to reflect that. That before you can become president or minister or MP, you should have these sets of skills. Now, even if you put it there, who is going to vet them on those sets of skills? So that's why when we are talking about political HR, we say that it even starts from the political parties. If they understand that the person that they are choosing as flag bearer, the person that they are choosing as member of parliament, the person must come with some basic skills, then half the work is done. But let's move on from there. When the person who is the most popular person is given an appointment, what is important to everyone? It moves beyond their popularity, right? They are supposed to be able to achieve. Because if you do not achieve, you will lose your appeal. So what we want to work on is to make sure that the person has the right skills. If they don't have it, how do we train the person to get the skills so that despite their popularity, they will also be achievers? And that is where we come in.
You know, I appreciate the impact you're making with trying to penetrate the political space with political communication skills, strategies. I would say kudos to you. You did an excellent job with your students. They communicated pretty well to the winner as well. And now we're looking at HR and politics, which also seems to ferment the basics and probably having people who are well commendable and well shaped to do this job. Do you, from your own space and research, see any limitation to this impact you brought on board? Is there any limitation or limiting factor that could be a caveat for further improvement and development, national-wise or international-wise?
Okay, so at UNIMAC, in my department, what we realized was that it wasn't enough just to train our students in understanding how politics play out during campaigns and all of that, because that is at the bachelor's level. We realized that we needed to do more, and that is why we brought in the political human resource to political management. So at the master's level, we make sure that those that are interested in going into the field of politics then get their skills even more honed in. And that's why we have the Masters and MPhil in political communication management. So that is the point where we teach you the basic skills of human resource, the kind of orientation you need to have when you want to go into the field of politics proper. So at that level, we are training people who are going to be at the forefront of political organizations or looking at probably going into political office. Now, it is interesting to let you know that now we have a PhD. As we stand now, we have 4 students that are doing their PhD in politics. And we even move further in there to teach them the rudiments of understanding ethnicity, nationalism in politics, understanding international relations. So at every stage, we are doing our part. And as I said, the important thing is to build a coalition of people who understand how politics must be done and how politics must be run. And if we do that, I think we can gradually have the impact. You do not expect that impacts can happen overnight. But I know that with the work that we are doing at University of Media Arts and Communication, we are gradually building a coalition of people all the way to the PhD level who will understand the importance of the skills, the orientation, the training, what you need to impact our politics in a positive way. So that's what we are doing.
Interesting. You must be nodding like how I'm nodding this morning with Dr. Lorisha Agyapong about how we could restructure our political space, figuring in how to also bring together the right kind of people, the right kind of skills and mindsets to lead the country, right from the executive, legislature, and judiciary. And Doc, let us try and then build this scenario. Are we looking at a Ghana or an African continent which our political space will be very aligned? Every political leader or every leader who stands to account for any public office has the right kind of skills and competence to fit that work. Or we're looking at a Ghana or an African continent whereby people have the understanding that they are the right fit for the jobs they do, based on what we are training students on, that we should have the right kind of people, the right kind of fit, which would now depict perfection, or would have an open space for anything that happens.
It's a combination of the two, isn't it?
Tell us about it.
Because if you have people that have the right mindset, then they will choose the right kind of leaders. Very important. And if you have leaders that have the right skill, then they can impact positively on the country and the continent as a whole. So I feel that if we want Africa to go the way, or Ghana to go the way that we all desire, it should be a combination of the two. We as a people must change our mindset and reorient ourselves that when we are choosing people, we should choose people who are competent. Now, let's come back to this word that keeps coming up. When we say skills, right? Skills means that you want the tools that can help you do the job. People can come to a job without the necessary skills, but they can be trained to acquire the necessary skills. And for us, that is very important. So we are not saying that, oh, when you are coming into a particular field, or if you are becoming a minister of health, you should necessarily be a medical doctor or somebody. Understand that your work is more about management, managing the people. So we can give you the skills to help you. That is why I will use this platform to encourage all our politicians, parliamentarians, ministers, and potential politicians, people who want to go to the field. We have a lot of short courses on these things, how to give you the skills. Be interested in acquiring skills beyond your popularity as a politician. Be interested in acquiring the skills so that you can deliver to the people. It is only when you deliver to the people that we become better, you know. So I would say combination of the two. Let's build our knowledge base as a people, which we at the academic side, we are trying to do. Let's look for competent people. So when the president is trying to get people to work for the government, he should look out for competent people. If they are competent in an area, he calls something transferable skills. We can actually help them to make them better managers of the ministries, of the organizations that they are heading. And they will do a pretty good job for the country and the continent as large.
Amazing. So you heard it from Dr. Agyapong that you can learn on the job. So a Minister of Education, Minister of Health, Finance, you can still learn on the job. And Tell us one thing, one unique takeaway that if anybody within the political space wishes to gain from this program, to what they have, beyond transferable skills or experience, popularity or voter appeal or whatsoever, what unique advantage or quality are they going to earn from a program like HR and politics or political HR from Unimac GIJ when they begin to enroll in case of any situation? What is the quality?
Okay, so what is very important to us is that very often people that have been put into positions of power suddenly have access to huge resources that they have never managed before. Yeah. So for example, somebody becomes an MMDC person. The person was a teacher. Maybe their salary was not beyond 14,000, and suddenly they are thrust into a position where they need to manage resources worth millions and millions of cedis. The person needs to understand how to manage that resource to the advantage of all the people. So what we want to do is to train the person so that they understand that while you are at that position, it's not just about your political party. It's not just about making yourself better and enriching yourself, but it's about making sure that you manage the resources that you have been given, manage the people that work for you in such a way that you can bring the best out of them so that you can deliver on your mandates. It is only by delivering on your mandates that people can keep voting for you. So ultimately, if you want to be successful as a political party or as a politician, then you need to know how to use the resources, including the human resource that you have, in order to deliver to the people of Ghana so that they are happy with you and they can either retain you or vote for you, without which you will not stay in power for long. Sure. So that is what we want to encourage people to do, even with the political parties. They need to understand which human resource you have. I always say that when it comes to politics, as a country, you do not have any say in the human resource and human capital that you are giving. You need to learn how to manage them, to bring the best out of them. And that is what we are here to help you do.
Sure. And if you're touched by these words and you have this ambition to enter into politics and excel, you want to know how to do it, you may want to pay keen attention to Dr. Agyapong. You can, how do you guide people? So you want guidance on how to assess this program and enroll as soon as possible. How do we do it?
So when you go to our website, www.unimac.edu.gh, you will be able to access. We have all programs. We have short courses. So if you are somebody that is very busy, you are already a politician, you are already in a position, so you cannot go into formal education. We have different ways that you can get. You can start with a short course, or you can take part in our sandwich program so that you can gradually get your degree and that. And we are always available, especially with parliament, with governments. We are ready to work for you. If we know what the requirements of your people are, we can develop specific programs that will make sure that they gain the understanding and the skills that are needed for them. Because Unimac, we are all about building people, especially in the field of politics.
Splendid. So there you have it. Dr. Agyapong represents Unimac GIJ, head of the Center for International Relations, and she is looking out to redefine our political space through political HR, being very specific and very intentional on the kind of people you choose to occupy public positions and how they transform that with that knowledge and understanding. Stay with us for more on Hello Africa. We'll be right back.
I'm here with the Association of African Universities Television, AUTV. I just want to say that without the media, you won't know what's going on in the world. Even with the media, you sometimes don't know what's going on in the world. So you need to tune in to the reliable sources who are really on the front lines, who can give you the information you need and give you facts, not conjecture, give you real news, not fake news. And this is the place to find it, AUTV.
The voice of higher education in Africa.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello Africa, keep watching AAU TV.
This is Hello Africa on AAU TV.
Hey, so this is Dishant from Unica University Common Application. I recommend you to watch AAU television.
AAU TV is the place to be for every person in higher education in Africa. Better be there or be nowhere.
Continuez de regarder la télé et surtout sur le AAU.
Keep watching it, and it will change the way you interact with higher education on the continent. AAU, great job.
I want to tell you that AAU television is fantastic. It's educative, it's informative, and it is a must for anybody who is interested in higher education in Africa.
When I was in Accra last year, I did an interview on this TV. It's a very important mouthpiece.
It's a data, it's a bank of all we need for the development of higher education in Africa.
People should make an effort to view it because it discusses very current issues of development across the continent.
I believe that the station will continue to promote the overall development of Africa, particularly in the tertiary education sector.
AAU TV provides a platform and shares a lot of information to a broader audience. So we wish you all the best and please continue serving AAU TV,
the voice of higher education in Africa.
Are you a university, college, high school, private organization, NGO, individual professor, instructor or facilitator seeking to take advantage of the numerous benefits of online education? Look no further. The AAU eLearn Africa LMS is a great opportunity to begin your journey to online course development and creation for teaching, learning and training purposes. AAU eLearn Africa LMS, which is a partnership between the Association of African Universities and eLearn Africa, has made available ease to use online learning tools to all stakeholders within the educational ecosystem of the African continent. This is to enhance teaching and learning in the bid to expand online learning opportunities for students in Africa. The online platform is open and available for free to all stakeholders and facilitates virtual access to classes without needing the other tools such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, among others. For more information, visit www.elearnafricalms.com or contact us via aaulms@aau.org or estherm@elearnafrica.com. Follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at AAU eLearn Africa, LMS.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
Still within the bubbly mode, we're bringing you the lifestyle segment as usual, and today's segment is a special one. Have you ever heard of anyone holding a PhD in one of Ghana's strongest languages called Twi? Allow me to just tell you about it, okay? So our guest today is one of Ghana's very illustrious and cherished broadcasters. She is Dr. Nana Enima Wiafe Akenten. She is a trailblazer in Ghanaian media and education. She served as the former head of the Akan Nzema department at the College of Education, Languages Education at Jumahu Campus University of Education, when it currently serves with the University of Media Arts, GIJ. And she has made history as the first person to earn a PhD in Twi language, TWI, Twi language, one of the major Akan dialects. And she's no stranger to the media space. From 2003 to 2013, she worked with GTV as a news anchor, hosted the popular culture and tradition program, A Memory Fie, on Asempa FM, and also led the Akan News Division at the Top Radio and Radio Universe right here in Accra, Ghana. So today, I go on an English holiday as I come home and say, Doc, Moakawa.
Yeah, niabemena.
Splendid. You actually embody the culture and heritage of Africa as a daughter of the soil. How do you feel about that?
It feels great because it's been a passion, and I have followed it till now. And I said it feels great. I am happy because it wasn't something for myself, but to share with Ghanaians in general. Whether an ethnic group of an Ewe, Ga, Dagumba, the northern languages, Dagari, Gadangbe, Akan, as in the Twi, the Fanti, the Bono, sharing knowledge and always reminding us that we have a cultural heritage. We have this legacy that our forefathers left for us that embodies our knowledge, our wisdom, our pride, knowledge with things around us that can be utilized to the benefit of our society, sort of way of speaking etiquette for our children, a way we bring them up with Ifie, Nyansa, sort of, all of that are needed for us to use whilst we are governing, we are building our country, and also for our economic development in terms of tourism and all of that. In general, to value what we have as we also work with it to make ends meet.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The biggest question at the moment is why, amongst all the PhD areas, you chose Twi language? What inspired you?
It started from childhood in primary school. My first inspiration was my dad. He was the late dad, Ankobi Ahene of Akwetia. Okay. And before then, my grandfather was also Ochiame Kwejo Donkoyabua. Yeah, was also the first Ochiame of Akwetia. So I'm from traditional home. Yes, and our first chief, Ohimin Kwetia, he was a broadcaster, news anchor on GTV. Yes, so anytime he was on air and we were sitting watching our chief, I was so inspired. I was like, hey, Misumini and that you may be a may be a medimicrum casa. She said, Juma may career, choosing a career that I'll be using my mother tongue. Then there's a need to learn and acquire more knowledge than just speaking. So it started from there. And I was fortunate, I pursued it from primary. I attended St. Rose's Secondary School. Yes, so St. Rose's, I was interested in languages. So I offered, I think, French, English, literature, then Twi. Yes, and we had a very good, loving mother teacher, Miss Opoku. She was there. So the interest grew. And after St. Rose's, I pursued, I was able to, pass, entered university where I met people like Professor Jekun, Professor Yanka, Prof. Dolphine, Professor Sam and all of that. And I was like, hey, and then say trees and pennyfoot through ne so yet linguistics, linguistics. So the interest grew from there and I pursued it, to that level. And fortunately, when I entered university too, I joined radio. I had the opportunity to join Radio Universe as well. So I was a producer for Prof. Ejekun Efisem. And Efisem actually started this morning show that we use the Akan, the indigenous language. That is where we started at Radio Universe, Efisem, Prof. Ejekun. And I was a producer, being mentored. So that is how it started, taking inspiration from my lecturers, and then we realized that, my passion, interest, career interest of becoming a broadcaster, and then a teacher, lecturer, and if I want to use my mother tongue, there's the need to learn it, not just speaking, but in-depth. I need to get in-depth knowledge and understanding. So that is how the dream started, and this is where I have come to with a PhD in Ghanaian language. But my concentration was language media, social, political use of language, sociocultural context usage of language. It's sort of under ethnography of communication.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Fekenten, I want to present this matter to you. Today, we have had so many stories that Africa, Ghana, we have sold our heritage. Today, we are being led to study somebody's language and impersonate somebody's lifestyle, which is not used to us. China did Chinese. The others, India did India. Why are we now doing English? Don't you think you are on the island alone? How do you feel the stigma?
Interesting. I think before a couple of years back, people used to look down on our languages, especially some of us who had interest and were pursuing it. Some people ask, Inti Oba investing to me in your course, and some will ask, Inti a rough affair say to
one we ask.
The rough affair say Oba investing to me in your course. I don't know how a rough affair and then the learning of Ghanaian language, but that tells us the extent to which we look down upon what we have, our own.
Yes.
So, it's felt somehow sometimes discouraging. But now I say that with the proliferation of the radio stations that broadcast in our indigenous languages, especially the Akan, learning the language is not anything that you feel shy of or you'll be looked down upon. Now people have come to understand that even you don't just need proficiency or fluency in it to be able to use it in your field of work or career. You really need to learn into the syntax of it, the structure, of the language, just like the English. You need to learn the semantics of it, the choice of words. If you learn the semantics and then the pragmatics of the word, of the language, and you're not to radio so but na papa netimi it's like say learning the syntax, the semantics of it, the pragmatics of the language, to me is not something of volition. Obin to me shut down. I just say what Tony Conway was saying. It's a what's ya a can and I say what's ya or mother tongue. No, the structure just like we learn the English. When say a brewery, a dear mood, ye cast a tam, a dear more ha, ye cast a fa. And now say accident, si kohese nipa to me wu, send ya Americano. Nipa to me wusa, right? Ebi also can we re hu for sebe there be sebe strategic communication sebe ya DFA, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that we look down upon it, but it's a subject area, it's a course area, it's a field that you need to learn to be able to be competent in the use of the language. Now, I mean, in the media, apart from the insult and all of that, look at a time we had what we call politics of insult, you know, where political campaign people were just insulting, you know. So what's your kasano now? Kana usunya we no money now? When him say penimu yendinatem, udinatema ye yenim gwasi ebro wabusunya for no. Yensu ye spiritual. There's an implication. Udi peniatema ote wunkwaso. Even Bible kure wum. Nensu eneve yen shada nkan ye kasa na yen sua saa niama we nyina nti no. Ama yen tetiye there's wisdom, there's knowledge, there's a traditional way, wisdom. Wise we are yen nananom, you know, utilize all these omudi bu mind. Edited say yen efa ye kasa ho. Can we men can we ye yan kasa as is in the English. As English, you say, if you are speaking, you should know who, where, how. Usia can kasana with the pragmatics, with the ethnography of communication, the field that I did. Oh, kasa so who bre, oh kasa, you know, time in the morning. Oh, presenting news. Na say, yena na no money nyansa pa o. In the morning, oh presenting news. Na say owu asem, and I say bibi efa ya ne Prophet Jekun sebi intesio. And I say Johnson yane anopetutu to be didi. Nti no bossa ade no so man no moto. Nti yese to sebi nature ade na eba no time. Nti na sebie nti me ba be ka no se mo no moto amfa nchem na emum esan sa asemasi a ese meka na ye ma tankasefo koprapra ho na efi ho na ankofo hawa ama ana se sebi nipa afrim akwanhia ese na nipa afrim na enye zo matumi ewu no. Akwanhia na esi na nipa afam ahwe omunkwa nti no kwa ye wo kasakwa ne se ne ayesika na ese wo kan de asem ne tudwa a ense se wo ka pen na ebekwa akofo ye na na so hawa no enum to na so bi beboto nti it affects productivity. Obeka obi beboto no wo se demo ne nya de ese oye no ontimi nye na ye hawa ma no nti we num nyina ya de ane ye nananom de nimde ne nya asakwan ahye kasanum ti yesua na ye ka no na nka ye de di dwuma ne ye de boa yen ye bu ye man no yenim se ye nsem bi o ha ye kan ni enyan esan se de bia me kan hweso a me ka me se kill them like cockroaches. Pe enema Rwanda mine etete pam sam ye ni aye edu ba bia na ehu esan se ye se Ghana ya sondwe man Ghana ya sondwe nanso no wanhwe ya daba akopɛ takra wodem agyamom na akofo ye nani ohaw nanso ne ye kasa esan se ye nsua edi niama edi agwa ebia ye nya kwanya no ye ti radio TV so ye ne wo platform ti ye ka asem bia na agyamom na ne na ye se na ebi okwa de ntokwa ne abufu hyeba na edi ohaw ba nanso ye sua kasa no ene ye nya ntete cultural context of speaking, what you can say, what you cannot say, what you can mention, what you shouldn't mention at a particular time, depending on who you are talking to. You know, what you should speak, what is unspeakable because of a particular time, and the delicate and sensitive nature of what you are talking about. Inti yesua we nyina na nka yede tete yenya anka enye nsem sei. Inti no, we have been looking down upon what we have, our language, but there's knowledge, in-depth knowledge. There's wisdom in it. You know, one needs to be competent in the use of it as a tool, as an escape route, as something very good, great, useful, that in all aspects of, you know, the field of study, whether in health, communication, in politics, if you are even an engineer, you are whatever medical doctor, you need to have some competence in your mother tongue, in your language, so when the need come, you'll be able to utilize it to the benefit of yourself, the people, and the nation as a whole. Doctor, obi bana se brofuna na una nebiaba. No say doctor me jonku ye me ya. Uni me jonku kura. Tuma we abakwa command ko to dwe drubi. Enso na ni jonku na ye ne ya no. Ewo ho. Ebia se bi be me biaba. No say o doctor, ontimi nka there's what we call strategic communication in the learning of the language. It also talks about assembly of any enyan. Uni obi kan offering to ontimi nka nti no. Yewo ye fe no kwati kwan. Anasa wada kwan bi a ye de fa so. Nti no offering ontimi nka se sebi. Doctor, me bema no enye adwuma. Enti no boss doctor me sisi anaso de emfa no ba mpo. Ebia owo ne mamu na o se doctor me yem ye me ya. Enso be na sebi na ya sibi na ye ne ya. Ye be ma ye madru. Aha, na enso se wonnim sa context of communication. Na wo hwe se ne o kana se approach avoidance na wo hu se asem bi wo nti o se wo yem nko a na wo yem ne hefa. Na wo be hu kwan a wo de be fa bebisa na be hu se na sebi na ya se na ye ne ya no wa na duro sin se o kan na watra na watro keke so wo enti no ne kasa ni suamu no so no ye twi kasa de na so we also have what we call oneye ene uniso kra wo de kasa a ma obitimi hu o kasa na chi se we na opa kira na se we na person kan ni nyina twi na mesua na wo mu ethnography of communication na wo mu. So what we call the prosodic aspect of the language and then the kinesthetic aspect of the language. And into na mpenifo ka say to de bia oneye kra kan asem esen wano ade kan eto bia onisuo ne kwa de kan asem ne kwa no oneye a ode kan no anasa asempɔte na wo kan no kwa no enisuo ne ma yehu ne a wo pa kire na chi and the tire na ta wo campaign political anasa you know, a man named Mamu Entum, aha, and also into the prosodic and the kinesthetic aspect. Nina, Ubesia Winina, Sinema who said, Bia, we bian, Ukranim dear, ewo kasa, wa mamre, na boa with Juma, no one who send any pabi dinky tahu, no one who bre, bia ye, nipa neo mokasa kwa, send your becanafa.
In fact, all those who were saying that, hey, Oba, come and apologize. Because the prosodic and the kinetic effect, you need to embody the language.
Yes. You need to learn.
Dr. Rafaka, did you also appreciate the part, all said and saying, we the youth of these days, I kind of say, society na boy bros, any boy and bro. And cheche ya o cheche, ifa, ye kasano, said ye be kano. Said ye bet to me a shet bia no putting ya canon na and wa benyam no cry a yasap. Na and no a juma a fee a quintuity. I will for cram to me yam branch yam mano said ye casa. See ye carney with you sooner aquato upon us so in swear to it was ye casa bia say a woman as Santini and I say I was born in a Santina with me to casa and then po bit you cotton to ma. No, I got told to man and say, I will go home, or there could be birthday. Walk and pay for one was, then I will shut their bahay and also.
And I make a ye casa no so ye be and century near Casao. It's as and to mana hold one and so no. Nina do cra bebo, and a senia wa found when you now was secret. Enteno and to mani wako boduku now company for an him fee, no wako boduku. Na odi akere wachi no eno no ye friend say sebi duku na se cheni because ye bi de machi ebi on so aye chia na friend sebi memfi ta enti no wakwa boduku we na de kwa himfi a ye bedi watam ana say ye bebi da na ya na ne ha adwen ne say ye mmisa se na wayo na we ofifie ben mu ne maame ne hwan ne papa ne hwan adan na ya antitu yi enti we nyina ya de a se wonim a onkoye se wonim na wo ye ne ese wo ye na fa ho wa ho fa de no aha wa ye ne kama se ne o se na wrai ana branch ofi he na ne abie pa ya tete ne ofie pa o na aka wo ne wabusuafo nyina nti ya de a onkofa ntoma bi a chom se hu nya mi hu na de akọ mpani anim ana asa ahemfie wo wanya asem a wodi fo no na wasan akọ akofa ntoma hu nya mi hu e de akọ ahemfie ye bebo ka nso nka woni ma anka abɛyɛ nea ɛdi ahobrɛaseɛ koraa nea ka bi ama wo ɛna wafa ho akɔ akɔdi nti weenum nyaa yɛ ade ehia sɛ nsuo no a wo ka sɛ nsuo no o ka sɛ o sɛ dan po
ade a emu ohande emu de isi ho ne de to ho
yɛ woni ade si woni ade ɛno yɛ pragmatics no aha ɛbrɛ ɛra obɛka asɛm bi ebedi dwuma bi a nsunsuanso a ohwehwɛ papa no o ka asɛm bi a ana asɛmfo bi a nea ohwehwɛ sɛ obenya nsunsuanso papa no ubenya nea opɛ sɛ utiefo no yɛma no obetimi ayɛ ama wo yɛmfa nso ɔbaa bi ne okunu wɔ hɔ na wohia ade a no akwakoja no ɛyɛ under pragmatic under honorifics akrokro ne adefe kasa na ohia bibia no akwa oh mira da no akora ne school fees na aka so betua no won say time ko dada wontu ya obeka he ma menwe me ho me ka say metua de menye ska oh sweetheart mira pacho na akora ne fee no ebre ko wonim say sanso kwa anya ne apam no oh wakai me wo de mebo modin ayema so when no so practice senia ofa akasa ani so ade kan ye nsemfu ade kan ye senia wo hwe hu nipa ne na kasade ebu ne ani die no saa no so be ya ama wo nti ne nyina ye theory yesua wo akan kasam ni ameka ho asem we say under speech act ene ya ne se ni akan asem no nti wo kan asem no speech act so wo nti no ni ye locutionary illocutionary ni awoka ene ni a wanka se mfi wanu ma woka nti twie no mesua we nya efe no kasa nsunsuanso kasapa edin sunsuanso paba kasabone edin sunsuanso muaye bone ene bebro
twetwasema mwate yen kanokwa. We don't just say it, you have to understand it. Stay with us, we'll be right back. It's tree in scoop.
Hello, Africa. Keep watching AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks. This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
It's been an interesting moment with Dr. Enima. Nana Enima Riafe-Akenten. She is a lead in languages at UNIMAC GIJ. And so, Doc, you have actually established, I would say, a very compelling premise about language, its essence, significance, and understanding to everybody who speaks it. And the Twi language, whether we like it or not, is a dominant language in Ghana that can't be overlooked. So one way or the other, within our business, political, social, somebody would speak Twi just to get understanding driven to a group of people. So it's important that you have this background, very deep-rooted in the language, and also implore others to do so as well. Let me just switch. Today, with your current role at UNIMAC, what do you seek to achieve with the students, and what are you trying to drive right into them and into their world of work with the Akan language and its diverse features around it?
Okay, yeah. So with UNIMAC School of Languages and then the journalism and NAFTI, three of us together, yes, we are starting language, Akan language usage and culture. It's not only for the Akan. We're starting with Akan, but gradually we will move to Ewe language. We will move to Ga, Gadangbe, the 7, let me say, standard Ghanaian languages that we use. When I was, I don't know, I was a Akan news presenter on GTV. So those were the languages that we were using, which represented the other regions. Yeah. So we are starting with Akan. We are starting this program where, people of all background, we are targeting the Akan the indigenous language broadcasters, yes, to come and pursue this short course. Yes, but it's not only for Akan, as I always say. If we get students in Ewe, Ga, Ewe, I teach voice and speech as well. You know, phonetic pronunciation of the indigenous languages. Yes, so with the Akan, how to pronounce, as if we all say dabi, debi, vowels, so how to pronounce them correctly as well. So with the, interestingly, I teach a student, Ga student, Dagomba Dagari student, phonetics, general. Great. Yes, so whatever I do, I don't do only Akan. My mother tongue is Akan, but I don't do only, because it's for Ghana. Yes, so I encourage the other ethnic groups. So sometimes I teach the other languages as well. So when I'm teaching phonetics in Ghanaian language, and then even the students, I ask them, say, ewe. I said, Debbie, yenka ewe. When I say, ewe. Like, ohene togbi apede. Nedine yeka togbi afede. But apede. So all of that we learn. So when it comes to Unimark School of Languages, we teach phonetics, pronunciation, we teach usage, knowing the cultural background, cultural context of speaking. So, and then, you know, when we starting with the certificate course, we'll move to the BA program in Ghanaian language and English, right? And then we are also preparing for master's program. We are working on all of that, where, you know, when you come, if you are using the knowledge in broadcasting, even in the medical field, which field that you are, you can offer the certificate course to learn the Akan language and usage. You may not need to do a degree in that. Yeah, but if you want an expertise in the field, we have BA programs, we have MA programs where you can offer Akan and journalism, especially for the local language broadcasters. Yes, where you learn all that I was talking about, to have competence in the usage of the language. You have knowledge in the syntax, the semantics, the pragmatics, you know, the stylistics aspect. But there's a way we do it as well. You know, for instance, if it is news, you are a newspaper, you are presenting news. News is serious business. Unlike other programs, be a interesting, like other social programs. So for instance, you should have that knowledge that when you are presenting news, and even kasano, kasana ububea, and a chair say, unim kasano wanoate, ne adintu de benen and them na disi asem sudiana di trasutiawa, now ma some near the ne ni kasu a tea for any bejeho. Name in news, because it's serious business, offer a best short, tietia, a hoyenfa a betting thing where you use the proverb in the news and news is brief, straight to the point, and use a long proverb, it will distort the message. News, you are communicating, you are sending a message. So it should be brief for emphasis. You don't have to do embellishment. And ya hona openya jekum ko se enya ye nkrodo chire dem fiafia ho na ye kan na papa no be hwe no wasumpi ne ho na ne be hwe hulalala ebi okwa ne ye tunyum nyina awu. You know, news is serious. Oh, can't say said a betiawa. No man penny so didija any munane nam to be na famudia so be a benya na famudia. And ya fena becase now man penny can answer no say as so a kuranes and so a kuranes so a krakun crona why there be news and yes sir. It makes the information hard to process. You are communicating, sending message, but you divert your audience attention to be thinking, trying to understand the proverb rather than concentrating on the news, the information you are putting out there. And it's stylistics ni we no nyina in it. And it makes you competent. Ubekam ema ye nika ema tiefo ani age ho ma ye ode ema jawo station what we call usually near my attire for business purpose, where sometimes you want to do the scoop or sometimes it is the style of the station. It may be your style, but there's a way you do it, a better fine, a better decent, and market of professionalism. Until we are collaborating. If you come to Unimark, yeah, share courses near there. You know, previously, Dr. Japon, I was listening, she was talking about HR in political communication.
Yes.
Yeah, we also do that where time will come where you say a do campaigner, politicians of Omoka Yukrum Kasa. Omoba no kana asem said they on cabro food over Kayukrum Kasa, Bessia, near onye akan crabon say Usia tree, Nico baby or Conodo night meka. Once and your tree no so no. Or call anguna mwema or peso kanguna kasa neka kra ni ade into usia we nyina no eno so no edu baby a ese usia the mother tongue the Ghanaian language neka kra ne momenye se usia ne kanekeke ese usia the style, the speech acts theory, the cultural context of speaking enye se o pese o catchy no ne momo beka bibia keke edu baby a eja ugina e Christopher mu a you know the approach avoidance strategy or unko kase oh many animal Christopher montomame na eja Muslims non so well inti abusiafo madaro mamaba montomame inti unya kase Christopher ntomawa na Muslims for no so eja omumu inti no eja you use the camaraderie strategy many animal Christopher and to could do Muslim moms, many are no Muslim for winning power with Tikopa, Trimpa, so when you're Muslim. But it is a camaraderie strategy. I will busia with them because you are pleading with them. Internal, Muso be party, oh, Taleminia, why did the men found go? Even in cancer in radio discussions, sometimes phone in Brew Hono, most of her, oh, Bemena, Wadaroma, who near you knew. Inti ene de mabe ma menchia mebusia pani o start say your bomb running be me na unieni no utrima ye de honorifics ni nyina ka ni nyina sua twi linguistics no enti no bo se no de afam na asem obeka no no wakako ni nya ye political language politics the stylistics the ni nyina pragmatics strategy that you need to learn unima you know how to use it, where to use it, who to use it for, how to handle it in such a way say u de jiduma ne kra no u de be dijuma ye na wanya locational response ni awo asem na oka no wanya hu muaye ne nsunsan so papa ti we nyina ye be ka bom ne ya che see you in market there I tell you it should be the first in always if you looking at language whatever content that you want to use it for in your career we should be the first.
Yes. Why are there? Panama date 28 April 2025. Here first I catch you with TV so. One control to ma catch you with TV so then. Obahima. Yes. Yen bonnet offer say. So be say ye wo me akani. Ye wo me akani nti meye betumi afa betumi akabiara. E debe na onu akro no or mani free ho so feel say me akani identity that say me ko sua akan. I just say me ko sua mu nsam nema ho nsam do so do. E dey na onu akro no or ne refi. Ka che no.
Ne refi say bibia se wonim kra na e se unya nimde a emudo e wo mu. Nti wo ya kan ne o te kasa yese enye danta ene danta ene ne ade e bo ano. Nti no unim na otimi ka keke no wate a na udi dwuma bi na wohia mu nimde mu do eno nti ne ye nyina akosua ade mi ze se nkaja me fia ahemfia metete me nana ne me papa nom na ase na ehu hia se me san akosua nanso me hwe hu do akire se edu ba bi a me hia mu nimde na me de aye madwuma na me de na enya me nko awo na me de be kira ade me de be man ya che so wo nso empempie no so e ba ye kasa no se ye refi ye ho a metaka ho asempa se ye besua abon afoforo de kwa ye nsua ye de no esan se nimdie bi wo mu nimdie mapa nimdie bunu nyansa bunu a emudo a se wunim a nso bi o ya tete na ofi a o kabrofo kra na se uhu se ne kasa ne dimin ne ye ne se ne o ka otimu se ya tete na ofi so onim nyansa o ka fie nyansa ya na ye madwen se osua krom kasa on tebrofo me to me dani bisam so na we de obeka brofo na abeka twi na maka so kasa bia obese o ka bia eto bia kasa osua krom kasa na se bi unim nyansa ne ade nyanso se wahwa titum panifo no even politicians in panifo moimo titum o ka brofo kra na utimu se nyansa kasa bi a emudo ene radio so ama ye hu so se nipa bi ho mo nte brofo no nanso oka o ma ne kwan onya akwanya na oka ne kurom kasa na otumu se onim de onim nyansa onim fie nyansa wahu enti no da bia meka se yesua de bia na nka yensua ye kurom kasa no se ye eve se eye ga se ye gadangbe se ye dagare dagumba kasem ukurom kasa no eye akan fante eye bono kasa anase asante ekuapem yensua ni nyina na ebeboa yen wo ye adwuma yem
Enalope Dr. Nana Enima we afia kenten ama yatia se okasa ma okasa wo hia wate na tia se na sua ho ade
yentete ye mofra no
sa nyamrema mofra tete wo ye na wha say bro so afom ko Unimac for share Dr. Nana Enima nsa
bemena
onyoma
waka sebna mayede bemena mpa
in fact
why are dear
pa amambre mu ma weni age na be ka say be ya say yen me that's all
yeah that's all
what all right, thank you very much for watching. The segment will come to you shortly through this break. Stay with us, right back.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello, Africa. Keep watching AAU TV.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.
All right, welcome back from that break, and you are still watching the Hello Africa Morning Show. I'm coming to you live from the headquarters of the Association of African Universities. Right now, we are in the sports segment we call Game on Africa, and we'll quickly get into some trending news, and then we'll talk quickly about the standings with the leagues, and then later on the show today, we'll have a brief discussion with one of Ghana's finest players we have had, in the person of Rahim Ayew. He will join us online for a brief discussion of a few issues. So the first story for our trending news is obviously the biggest news in sports over the weekend. Liverpool has claimed the Premier League title with a dominant 5-1 victory over Tottenham at Anfield. And the new manager, and its loss, the Reds secured their 20th English League title and second Premier League trophy, leveling Manchester United's record for top division titles. Now, this remarkable achievement comes after an exceptional season with 25 wins from 34 matches. Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk shine as key players, while the team's resourcefulness under Slot has proved transformative. It's their first league title in 5 seasons, breaking Manchester City's streak. Fans celebrated passionately at Anfield, marking a historic moment for the club. And you can see the videos on your screen, some celebrations from last night's victory at Anfield. Moving on, Carlo Ancelotti is expected to end his tenure at Real Madrid at the conclusion of the season to take on a significant international role, reportedly becoming Brazil's national team manager. Now, despite being under contract until 2026, a decision has been made following Real Madrid's struggles this season, including defeat to Barcelona in the Copa del Rey final and Arsenal's defeat in the Champions League. Brazil is eager to finalize the appointment, with talks led by intermediary Diego Fernandez. Former Real Madrid star Xabi Alonso is tipped to succeed Ancelotti as the team's new manager. This move could signal an exciting shift in Ancelotti's illustrious coaching career. Still on trending news, Bayern Munich triumphed over Mainz 3-0 over the weekend, but their Bundesliga title celebration was put on hold as Bayern Leverkusen matched their win. The team now looks to secure their 34th league title with a win at RB Leipzig coming this weekend. Leroy Sané and Michael Olise start in the performance, with Olise leading the Bundesliga in assists this season. Also in this game, Thomas Müller marked his 500 league appearance, joining an elite group of players who achieved this milestone with a single club. Additionally, this title would be the first major trophy for English striker Harry Kane, who has played a key role in Bayern's campaign. Fans eagerly await next week's decisive clash at Leipzig to crown the season's success. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go into the major leagues around the world. Stay tuned.
Explore a whole new world of exciting visuals with AAU TV. Get ready for a mix of interesting talk shows, interviews, discovery documentaries, and news on AAU TV. It's not just about watching TV, it's about experiencing something special. AAU TV reaches over 25 countries in Africa, bringing you a blend of knowledge and fun. Learn about different cultures as you enjoy the shows. If you have events or want to showcase your business, we've got you covered. Watch AAU TV free-to-air channel on satellite. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, at AAU TV. Reach out on call or WhatsApp us at +233 26 629 6601 or +233 20 399 5210. AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa.
Hello, Africa. Keep watching AAU TV.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks. Welcome back from that commercial break, and we'll quickly go into the major leagues around the world, and we'll begin with the English Premiership. Liverpool have been crowned Premier League champions with 4 games to spare after a resounding 5-1 victory over Tottenham at Anfield. Meanwhile, Manchester United salvaged a 1-1 draw against Bournemouth. Newcastle climbed to third after beating Ipswich 3-0, and Chelsea boosted their European hopes with a 1-0 win over Everton. Fulham, Brighton and Wolves also secured crucial wins. With 4 matches left, Liverpool sit top of the table with 82 points, followed by Arsenal, Newcastle and Manchester City. At the bottom, Ipswich, Leicester City and Southampton have all been relegated, marking the first time in the Premier League history that all 3 promoted teams go back straight down after the end of the season. Let's look at the La Liga at the moment. Over the weekend, there was only 1 game, which was between Villarreal and Espanyol. Villarreal won that game by a lone goal, and this was an outstanding game from match week 26. In the Italian Serie A, Napoli have tightened their grip at the top of Serie A after a 2-0 victory over Torino, with Scott McTominay scoring twice to break a long-standing Scottish scoring record in Italy. Inter Milan's title hopes suffered a setback, falling 1-0 at home to Roma, who have now stretched their unbeaten run to 18 matches. Elsewhere, AC Milan beat Venezia 2-0. Juventus saw off Monza with the same scoreline, and then Fiorentina edged Empoli out 2-1, while Atalanta were held to a 1-1 draw by Lecce. With 4 matches left to play, the Serie A table looks like this. Napoli is on top with 74 points. Second is Inter Milan with 71 points. Atalanta is in third place with 65 points. And fourth place, Juventus is 62 points. And then Roma has 60 points in the 5th position. In the German Bundesliga, Bayern Munich strengthened their lead in the league with a 3-0 win over Mainz, while Bayer Leverkusen kept their hopes alive with a 2-0 victory over Augsburg. In other matches, Frankfurt cruised to a 4-0 win over Leipzig, and then Freiburg edged out Wolfsburg with a 1-0 win. The relegation fight continued with Bochum drawing 1-1 with Union Berlin. With 3 games left in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich leads with 75 points, Leverkusen 67 points in the second place, Frankfurt has 58 points in third place, Freiburg 51 points in fourth place, Leipzig 49 points in fifth place, and then Borussia Dortmund has 48 points in the 6th position. That's by way of the leagues across the world. And next we'll go straight into some discussion. Before we go online, let me engage my brother, Dr. Agyemang Otredakong. Over the weekend, so we are just talking about 3 major games. Yeah. The first one is Real Madrid and then Barcelona, where Barca won 3-2. And then we'll talk about the FA Cup semi-finals matches played, those 2 games. And then lastly, we'll talk about the Liverpool title win. So let's talk about Barcelona and Madrid. Right. I don't know if you watched the game. Yeah. Okay. How did you feel? I know that you're not a Barca fan, you're not a Madrid fan either, but watching the game, what did you think, or who did you think in the beginning was going to win the game? Let's begin from there.
So, I don't support both teams, so I only had highlights, but I followed both teams.
Okay.
So, these days when I see some victories, I'm not surprised.
Okay.
Because I've seen how teams have metamorphosed and transitioned.
Yeah.
A team like Real Madrid seem to be in its peak.
Yeah.
But Real Madrid has a weakness. When they face Barcelona, you see that weakness. Yes. In the 2013, 2012, 13, 11, Real Madrid has that strategy of building its team right from the defense to the striking with top players.
Yeah.
Undeniably. But on the other hand, Barcelona has a different approach to that. They nurture talent.
Yes.
And it's not about names, it's about experience.
Exactly.
So they drop a few big names, and then they bring in some underdogs, and then they build that resilience.
Yeah.
The captain for Barcelona.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Rafinha.
Rafinha. That young man has this resilience that I think would be a big threat with La Liga.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
That young man I actually used to play for Leeds United in the Premiership. And he was bought by Barcelona a couple of seasons ago. And it is just interesting how suddenly he's one of the star players.
This young man, so for you to command, he has this commanding zeal that controls the midfield, and he's fierce.
Yeah.
Several times he's played Real Madrid, and he proved very tough.
Yeah.
And he's formidable. He has control over the field, and it proved in a match. You could see how they were just driving things. 5-2.
Yeah.
This is a very, very, very unfortunate score.
Well, I mean, I didn't honestly think it was unfortunate. I knew that there was a higher chance of Barcelona winning ahead of Madrid. The reason is because, like you said, Madrid has a problem lately.
Yeah.
For example, from the beginning of this season, when Toni Kroos retired, he's that guy who sits in the middle of the pitch and sometimes sinks deep and gives those killer passes that you'd always be looking for boys like Vinicius and Rodrigo to chase. Unfortunately, when he was retiring, that's when Mbappe came in. Mbappe would have needed somebody like this to do this kind of a job for him. No disrespect to boys like Camavinga and Valverde. I mean, they are good players in the middle, Bellingham and co. But unfortunately, this thing is not helping them because Kroos left, went on retirement. It's created a major problem for Madrid. So ever since the beginning of this season, when they started playing their back-to-back El Clasicos, Madrid always seem to be all over when the games are being played. I mean, when I saw that Barca had taken lead in the game, I was not surprised. My biggest surprise was when Madrid came to lead the game 2-1. And I was thinking, okay, maybe we are in for a surprise. Only for me to go back and watch. I didn't watch the full game. I was just in and out of it. Only to realize that now it was 2-2. And eventually it went to extra time. And then that's where Barcelona scored their final goal. And then they won.
You know, Phil, I on the other hand, have a different, I would say, viewpoint to this.
Okay.
I actually expected a loss for Barca.
Okay.
And that is
That's
why I say that
interesting.
the Barca team over the past 7 years has changed.
Yeah.
You know, you had a Barca that had the Xavis, the Iniestas. That Barca at that top league was Madrid's biggest nightmare.
Yeah.
Because Madrid can in no way beat that team.
Yeah,
But
I
over
agree.
time, we had these changes, new faces. The Ousmane Dembele, Gavi,
Yeah.
Our guy from Poland,
Lewandowski.
Yeah. And in that prime moment, as they joined the team, you could see that it was a lot of families. So Barca we couldn't see the Barca in them. And I asked myself, the tiki-taka Barca.
It's no longer there, honestly.
So if that is lost, then Barca is lost because Barca is built on the tiki-taka agenda.
Yeah.
That 1-2 touch brings that
from
phenomenal
Pep
play.
Guardiola's era back then at Barca, I remember very well.
So I, as somebody who has known Barca in that model, said the spirit of Barca is lost. Because who will now initiate the tiki-taka movement?
Yeah.
How they penetrate and dominate? So I saw that Lewandowski is not a tiki-taka person.
Yeah.
And all those around him were not also tiki-taka oriented. So how would that bond? Because Barca is a 2-on-2, 3-on-2 bonding
Short
with the
passes.
Pedros, the Busquets. So where are these people? Then Barca has gone down the drain.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden we see a whole new dimension with the Rafinha effect.
Yeah.
And the guy is able to drive the game and make the results pop up. Then I tell myself, Barca now has hope. Rafinha makes a difference. I think he is somebody I can't talk about the victory of Barcelona without crediting Rafinha.
I agree with you.
He's resilient.
I agree with you. And not to forget the youngster, Lamine Yamal. That
In
guy
fact,
is a sensation.
absolutely.
Like you rightly mentioned.
Absolutely.
Barcelona is good at nurturing young
players.
talent. And Lamine Yamal is one of these guys.
Splendid.
We have seen him in the last 2 years and what he has done.
Yeah.
And he gave the Madrid defenders a hell of a time in this
Absolutely.
game. And he's one of the key reasons they won this game. I mean, I like where you came from with regards to how Barcelona had some kind of a midfield that nobody could match, because back then you had the Xavis, the Iniesta, Busquets. These were wild guys. You don't really see that currently, but I think that they are in the process to getting back there. I know they may not have the magic that the Iniestas and the Xavis had, but it's likely they might be able to get to that point because of what Hansi Flick is doing. So when you were talking, my mind went back to when Xavi took over the team. That's when they had a major of those problems, because boys like Dembele and Cody couldn't fit in.
Yes.
Ansu Fati even had to go on a loan and all of but these are fantastic players, but they couldn't fit in because Xavi wasn't able to remedy the things that they were supposed to be, taking care of to make sure that Barcelona is the Barcelona that we know.
Yes.
And then Hansi Flick comes in. And I feel like it was a major decision that had to be taken, and it was a good one.
Yeah.
And we are beginning to see the effect. Now they are on top of the league.
Absolutely.
And they are likely to win. I mean, Madrid is about just 6 or 5 points below the pecking order, but I do not see them coming in to win, because this season Madrid has struggled. We saw it in the Champions League when Arsenal beat them home and away. It's not easy to go to the Bernabeu to go and win a game, but Arsenal did that.
You know the amazing thing about Madrid. So let me talk about the Madrid team right now and what I see. So I can tell you that Barcelona has themselves on a good path. They've got the playmakers. They got our guy Lamine Yamal doing amazingly to drive the ball in. So he reminds me of Messi. He reminds me of the Neymar. So I now know that they have somebody to put the ball through. And he reminds me of Rafinha reminds me of the Xavi, who is able to push the ball and distribute. All the goals they scored were goals that they lured the defense, they lured the midfield, they lured the strike, they lured the whole Madrid team into the other half of the pitch, and now we're throwing balls in, either through the flanks or overhead for the strikers, and that is what we are talking about. That ability is now they are good. Let me come to Real Madrid. The Real Madrid tragedy is based on leadership. Real Madrid has leadership crisis. See, this whole mumbling between Mbappe dominance and Vinicius dominance, it's a problem. It's a challenge. Because
Bellingham as well.
Yes, I think everybody wants a piece of the cake.
Yeah.
If you can sacrifice to put somebody at the arrowhead, and make that person the focal point, and confuse defenders, that it's this person that we're going to roll it to. So we trick everybody, and we are all trying to get ourselves in there. We lose it. We lose it. And the darling boy, Rodrigo, see, he's like someone. The free kick was awesome. People like Rodrigo, I think, are worried. Rodrigo's fate in Real Madrid is a worrisome one.
Apparently, I do hear that the Arsenal might be interested in buying him this summer,
and it will be a great deal, because
he will fit in the Arsenal setup.
Very great fit. He has all that he needs to do very well within the Arsenal space. He has the tactfulness, the speed. He has what it takes to be there. I think that Madrid needs to fix the leadership issue.
I agree.
It's an issue that if we don't fix, Real Madrid has been the case. Real Madrid over the past 20 years has had that crisis. Go on with the days David Beckham was in Madrid.
So that's where
Zidane was in Madrid.
That's where my challenge is with this current crop of players. Because look, it is true that they have great players like Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, and co. These are great guys. But the Madrid squad you are talking about back then, the squad that we knew, people like Pepe, Sergio Ramos, the Cannavaros. In the middle, you had boys like what are these names? They've just escaped my mind. But in the middle,
Alonso.
Xabi Alonso and co. Even before Xabi Alonso, there were wild guys in the midfield like the DRS and co.
Kadires and co.
Yes, all those guys. Mesut Ozil. all these boys. You had Benzema at the front.
Our man from Croatia.
Yes, Modric.
These are unique.
So all the wild guys. At the time when you mentioned Real Madrid, you mentioned the Galacticos. Okay, when these guys were there, I mean, senior Ronaldo, people like Figo and Co, Beckham and Co, all those guys, Iker Casillas, the goalkeeper. At the time, these are the squad you could call the Real Galacticos.
Top 11.
But these guys didn't have the pride issue that these young guys like Mbappe and Vinicius are fighting over. At the moment, Florentino Perez, the Madrid president, had no choice than to put Vinicius, Mbappe, and Bellingham on the same salary scale. Why? Because there was some sort of a rift between these three guys, which is a big problem. So if you are not putting yourselves together well off the pitch, it will not gel well when you are on the pitch. Because one biggest problem that Madrid has had this season is that Mbappe and Vinicius play in the same position. Now, arguably, Vinicius is a big player for Madrid. Mbappe comes in, who is another big player. Who sits down for who to play? Okay, you know, in a certain sense, people were even arguing that when Mbappe comes in, is Vinicius going to give him the 7 jersey? I didn't see that happening, and obviously it didn't happen because Vinicius is a big player for Madrid. So there was no way that jersey was going to be dropped for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are some of the things, and so I feel like even beyond this, the other problem is that before Mbappe came in, they had a good system where usually Bellingham will play behind Vinicius and Rodrigo.
Yeah.
And so he allowed Bellingham to score a lot of goals in his first season. This is his second season. He hasn't scored many goals. Okay. So all of these things are things that have come up to affect Madrid in the way they play. I'm very proud of Mbappe, who has properly adjusted in the number 9 role for Madrid, and now he's scoring goals. Because when he came in the beginning, he was struggling to find the net, but now he has found his level.
I still feel like it is still not settled yet.
It's not settled, but it is better than I expected, in my opinion,
definitely.
because he is not an original number 9.
Definitely. You see, I just try to do more of a trade analysis to see how many matches have there been between Real Madrid and Barcelona, and how many wins and losses have been. They seem to be out of 105 matches.
Yeah.
There's been 105 wins for Real Madrid, 103 for Barcelona.
Yeah.
But this is not good enough.
Yeah.
Looking at the kind of investments that Real Madrid puts into its kind of players, it should be better than that.
Yeah, I agree.
But you find Barcelona always proving resilience. That means that in Barcelona there is a value. I think there's a value that they cherish most, the value of companionship and collaborative work. But Real Madrid needs to a lot of work in trying to situate collaborative work and companionship, because if that is not well situated, it will be like a banana republic where everybody feels like we are all arrived. And if we don't have that collaboration, I just can tell that in the future there will be a lot of losses so far as these two teams are concerned. It's just my opinion about the quality of play.
I share the same sentiments with you.
Because 5-2,
it was 3-2 rather. 3-2. The scoreline 3-2.
3-2.
Yeah.
Okay, 3-2. It's not good.
To be fair,
what was the score in the Copa del Rey? The Copa del Rey.
This is the Copa del Rey match we are talking about now. This is the 3-2.
Not 5-2.
No, not 5-2. This is 3-2.
Has there ever been a 5-2 score before?
That was with the I think you're talking about the Champions League overall score between Arsenal and Madrid.
Okay, yeah.
That's what you're talking about. But this one
3-2
is 3-2. It was quite a close score, which is okay.
But there was one infringement. I think that the Barca squad the Madrid squad would to protest. There was this attack. There was this altercation.
Oh yes.
Between was it Mbappe and then
some of the players. Eventually, even Rudiger.
That mad. That got the Rudiger best out and all that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's very disturbing when you find this is okay.
These things always will happen once it is Madrid and Barcelona in the mix. Look, on the 11th of May, they play the second El Clasico of the season. I do not know what's going to happen because it looks like Madrid is following Barca closely to win. So the few matches Barca have left, they are not easy matches. And it includes the match against Madrid on the 11th of May. I can't wait to see how that match is going to play out, especially just to see how the matches before that will play out before that game. I can just only wait patiently and see. I just hope that with this analysis that we have done, which I'm sure they themselves may have realized, and the way that things haven't worked for them, because in this season, they haven't done well against Barcelona. I hope that they will use that as a learning curve and be able to sit up, and then in the last game of the season, they will be able to probably do something for themselves, because they need to salvage their image. Now they are like the whipping boys when it comes to the El Clasico.
And that won't be easy, because the dual leg loss with Arsenal, you see, it's something that we haven't gotten over it. We haven't really gotten over it.
Psychologically, I think that they are still disturbed.
It's not good. In fact,
I think that Madrid is still.
If it's a dream, if you should just wake up and wash their face.
I think that psychologically,
it's not healthy.
Yeah,
and that is a sign that should send a signal to Madrid.
Yeah,
to check their formations.
Yeah,
for me, I can say that if I look at Barcelona, I can mention two people who are holding the game unlocked.
Yeah.
You have Lamine Yamal, who is driving in the balls, and Rafinha, who is very resilient. But who can I mention in Madrid? I can't mention Mbappe, because Mbappe's fate is determined by who feeds him.
Yeah,
and that is a problem.
This season, Madrid have been all over.
So there should be a check. You should start doing your research into that area.
I will look into it, but yes, I agree with you that Madrid needs to set up when it comes to these games.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so quickly, the FA Cup semi-finals also happened, and then Manchester City won against Forest 2-0. That one was expected because Manchester City looked like they may not win a trophy this season. Obviously, they can't win the league. So I think that they may be fighting to win the FA Cup. So I'm not surprised that they won against Forest. And then the game that surprised me the most was Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Aston Villa lost 3-0. I was thinking that Aston Villa was going to give Crystal Palace a proper match and probably win the game, but I was surprised to see Crystal Palace win. But either ways, the final of the FA Cup will be played on the 17th of May between Man City and then Crystal Palace at Wembley. I don't know who's going to win. Given the fact that Crystal Palace is sitting up and doing some crazy things right now, I really cannot tell who's going to win. But may the best team win. My team is not in there, so I'll leave their issues for them.
But I can share an opinion that you could, 2 decades ago, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, these were teams. These were dominant teams.
Yeah.
No, times change.
And to be fair to them, in the league, they are living up to the expectation because Newcastle, for example, have climbed into the top 3 now. Yeah. So I think that they are coming back. A few weeks ago, Liverpool played Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final, and Liverpool lost. Everybody was tipping Liverpool to win. But Liverpool lost. So anyway, we'll see what happens in the final on the 17th of May. Now, finally, the English Premiership has been won by Liverpool. And I'm so delighted, okay, because I'm a Liverpool fan. And Liverpool have won this game or the title with 4 games to spare. Now, this is my analysis of this thing. Last season, when Manchester City won, they won on the final day, the last day of the league. They won their game against West Ham. Arsenal were hoping that they would lose. If they lost and Arsenal won their game, then Arsenal would have been winners. Arsenal had a chance to win the trophy, but they watered it because they had a chance to win some 3-4 games. They went and they drew all those games. And then Manchester caught up with them because at a point, the difference between Manchester City and Arsenal was 6 points.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the analysis now. How Manchester City won the title on the last day last year. This year, Liverpool have won the league with 4 games to spare. It's just beginning to look to me like Manchester City may have lost their steam because in this season we have seen the number of games that they have lost, and at the time they had lost 9 games in a row. That's when you look at the Champions League together with the league completely together. They had lost about 9 games in a row. And people started thinking that, okay, maybe Pep Guardiola is done and maybe he has to move on for somebody else to come back. Somehow, some way, he found the winning ways again, and then Manchester City is all over again trying to do their win. Now, what do you think? For Manchester City to have won the league last year on the last day, Liverpool have won it now with 4 games to spare. Do you think the City have lost their steam?
Undoubtedly or indubitably, one can say that right into this new year, Pep Guardiola had his own
Personal
moments
issues.
of retrospectiveness.
Yeah.
Where he felt that it was done for him.
Yeah. I remember that interview.
Yeah. He felt it, that it was over, to take a bow. But I do not understand what led to his extension. And I think he's reaping that psychological distress.
Yeah.
So it is. He began to fail at some matches consecutively, and then we knew that, no, Pep, you have a problem. And it's the play of it. You have overspent your time and you're welcome, and if you do not move and leave, you actually will lose your name. It's a wake-up call for him. He made the right step to leave, but I don't know what happened. He changed his mind.
Yeah,
and now
I think Manchester City didn't think that they could have a better replacement after what Guardiola has done, because they have won the league 4 times in a row. It is going to be a difficult boot to fit in for the next person who takes over Manchester City. I mean, so I think that was where the fear was, and probably the big shots were able to convince him.
And the earlier he leaves, the better, because I would say the image, the achievement would then drown. It has a much higher ripple effect on the team if there won't be a quick replacement for there to be good time to nurture. Pep again would have created more loss that would affect his career. That shouldn't.
Well,
that should be checked.
That's possible. But from the season is about to win. We don't see, or we haven't heard anything. It doesn't look like that might happen, especially now that they look like they might be winning the FA Cup because they're playing the final with Crystal Palace. We don't know what happened, but possibly they might win.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens in that final on the 17th of May. But if you're a Liverpool fan, congratulations. Twice in about 5-6 years, it's not bad. We'll see what next season holds for us.
So why NWA?
You never walk alone.
Never.
You never walk alone.
Never walk alone.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. So congrats. All right. And so this is how we end Game on Africa, and in Cho Chow, Hello Africa Morning Show, the 28th of April 2025 edition. Any last words, Ajman?
I believe you are empowered and you stay empowered through all that we view you, and just stay empowered and work with the knowledge you've acquired. You are a son and daughter of the soil. Be proud.
This program is proudly sponsored by Venom Mineral Water, Share the Love, and Bigo Drinks.